Call to order the March 20th, 2012 meeting of the Bowling Green Board of Commissioners. I invite you to stand. Tonight we have with us Doug Gorman from Crossing Community Church who will provide our invocation, and then Commissioner Waltrip will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your heads with me. Father, thank you so much for this day, Lord. Just ask for your continued blessings on our great town and the people that serve it. And Lord, I just ask you to be with the city commissioners and the city staff, for them to continue to lead us and guide us in doing the right things. Lord, just ask all these things in your precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bruce, we may get Doug Gorman to go into another field of work.
He's got the smile on his face. I think
Oh,
he may be
yeah.
occupied.
Yeah.
Ms. Schaller, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hill. Here. Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Waltrip.
Here.
Commissioner Denning.
Here.
Mayor Wilkerson.
Here. First item on our agenda are awards and recognitions. We want to start with Mr. Operation Pride himself, Alex Raylackey.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Oh, you'll have to open it.
This evening we have one award. It's a commercial award, and it is Tracks Running, located at 1240 Fairview Avenue. And I believe that you all are owners of that facility, and it's being leased to Tracks Running. I just found that out. I was telling them I'm doing some research and couldn't find the owners. But anyway, I want to show a couple of apologize. 1240 Fairview Avenue. And I couldn't find a before photograph. I have a photograph when they took it over. And then I also have the most recent photograph, as in was taken today. This is a photograph of before in one of the rooms that they have. This is a photograph of after. As you can see, they did a great job there. This is a photograph before in the laundry room and a wet sink area. And there's the photograph after. It looks like they've turned it into like a wet bar and a refreshment area. This is their ribbon cutting that they held for their grand opening. And this is the owners, and also they had a run where they had the individual in the middle. His son was very sick, and they donated money. I don't remember his name. They can tell you when they get up here, but they donated money to his son to help in his health. And that is the sign that's in front of the yard. So at this time, I'd like for Lily, Joe, Nick, and Chris to come forward.
I just got nominated to say a few words, so it's going to be really brief. But we would like to thank the city for the opportunity to take over this building that was in need of some TLC, as you can see from the earlier photographs. And we think we've got a viable partnership between ourselves and the city by promoting fitness in the park and in the city of Bowling Green. And we look forward to launching a marathon this year, November the 4th, 2012. It's the first marathon in this town. The money will go to muscular sclerosis, MS. My wife's sister died of MS, so it's a very personal disease to us. It's going to be called the Susan B. Ryherd Run for MS. We look forward to anybody who wants to get involved with this race to help us. And again, we look forward to continued partnership with the city. And thank you very much for this award.
Thank you, Joe.
Mayor, Commissioners, that's all I have, other than the fact that we are going to have an Old Stone Run for Pride, our fourth run this year, and I'm hoping the tracks will work with us and help us improve those statistics. It'll be on May the 12th with a pre-pasta dinner on May the 11th. And all of the proceeds that we raise for that race will go to Exit 22 and the beautification project after Scotty and them get done with the bridge and the additional area there. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Febo, do you have any other?
No other, Mayor, thank you.
I do have a couple of things that Ms. Hill reminded me of. Bowling Green is blessed by great physical talent. We had the Bowling Green High basketball team represent us in the Sweet 16. Western Kentucky University did a great job in the NCAA tournament, and in particular, I'd like to point out Coach Harper and the good job he did, but not only did they play hard, I saw the comfort that he tried to give the losing player on the other team, and that just shows the class with which people in Bowling Green participate. We have an upcoming event that both Bowling Green High School boys and girls team will be bowling in the bowling team in the state tournament this weekend. And on a little more personal note, from Warren East, Bobby Phelps' son is bowling as an individual in that state tournament. And his son is the only one I ever knew that in person that bowled a perfect 300 game. He emailed me that final roll there. It was something to see. Okay, Mr. City Manager, I think we have your comments at this point.
Two comments, Mayor. First, there'll be a need for a short executive session, no vote required. Kate will read the reason.
Pursuant to KRS 621A10B for deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by the city, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of the specific piece of property to be sold or acquired.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Nash, second by Waltrip. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes.
As has been our tradition over the last year or so, I've been using my city manager time to allow others to make presentations to the commission so we can have greater efficiency of time use. Tonight we have Doug Gorman from the chairman of Chapter 58 to give us a update on TIF activities in the downtown.
Thank you, Mr. Febo, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, staff, friends, neighbors, folks. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I just want to start off, I'll just give you kind of an overview. We have some exciting things going on, and I want to just kind of update you on those that we do each quarter. Our quarterly report to the state is due the end of March, and after we send that in, we'll actually send you the update on that, and that's our capital investment in the TIF area. But I'm very pleased to tell you that that number will be in the $137 million range. And again, we have till December of 2014 to hit $150 million, so we're well ahead of schedule, and we will be certified as signature TIF by the state of Kentucky here shortly, and we'll have plenty of time for announcements about that, but we're very excited about the progress that's been going on in the downtown area. Just some things of interest to you and to other people. SkyPack, of course, opened up to great fanfare, and that facility is about 98% finished. They still are working on some things on the outside, but if you have not had a chance to be inside that facility, you owe it to yourself to do that. They've had a couple shows already, sold out the first night and sold out last night for a Broadway show. As I said earlier, the show last night, Kevin, was Damn Yankees, and that's a Broadway show. It was not any other comment on that. But
You're a Yankee too?
I know I'm a Yankee too, that's right. So, but they've had a great success down there, so that's been good. But next to that is that parking garage at Block 6. And just to update people on that, it's about 90% complete. The stair towers, elevators, etc., will be finished by June 1st, and that's been kind of what the timetable has been there. We still use 3 floors of that for any events that are happening downtown, but you do have to walk and things, but it'll be fully functional by June 1st of this year on that. Just an update on Block 7, which is pie-shaped section over there by Napa, Cox Development and that group will finish the purchase of all the property by the end of this month, and then they will immediately start construction. We have all those details and everything going back and forth, and they hope to have that open by October 1st. In fact, they will have it open by October 1st because that's when they have a deadline to do that. Other things that are happening in the immediate area, we still are in, always have to be cautious about what I say, but we are still in negotiations or contact with a upscale grocery store that is looking to locate in a downtown area, and that would be something great for the residents, as well as more housing opportunities at Block 6 and other ones. And then finally, Mr. Schubert at the old Bowling Green Junior High School site at Columns is what that facility is called now, is way ahead of schedule on leasing and has had great success there. And if you have not been by that facility lately, you owe it to yourself to go there as well. That is going along great. And that is my very quick overview of what is going on. Again, you'll be emailed the end of March report, first quarter report that we send to the state in detail, and we'll send that to you as soon as we send that to the state. Other things that we're working with the city staff on are all progressing on that, and there'll be a little discussion at the end of the meeting again about some developments at Block 6 that we're pretty excited about. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Gorman? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Febo, were you planning to go over this?
No,
or is
I
that
was just handing it out
Okay.
at a later time.
All right, the next item on the agenda then is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting on March 6th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Denning. Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Next item is opportunity for public comments. If anyone in the audience would like to comment on an item that's not on tonight's agenda, we'd ask you to step forward to the microphone. Mr. Montgomery, please come ahead.
Bear with me, I'm a little sick, so may not be able to hear me as well as you would. I came a couple weeks ago to make an offer to the city to help correct what I saw was an error, and what other people have seen as an error in the details, the analysis that went into the golf decision. Well, on Monday, I got a courtesy call, and it was courtesy from the mayor. He said that you didn't even want to consider it. Wouldn't even bring it up for a vote. Well, that got me to wondering, why would the city turn down anything for free? I've never known you guys to turn down a darn thing free. So I wondered, I sat there and thought, I said, you must think there's some politics involved here, or there's some hidden agenda. So I got this little card, and I thought on this for a while. I said, what hidden agendas do they think that I have? Well, the first one I thought about was, I have the results already in mind, and I'm going to make the analysis go toward it. That's not how you do analysis. You let the analysis done, and then the results become apparent. If you want to go contrary to the analysis, so be it. So I have no, and I told you this before, that I didn't care. I wanted a proper analysis. Well, the next thing I thought was, maybe they think I'm getting some money or something back from Mr. Gary. As I told you before, don't know the gentleman. There's no pass-throughs. He's not a client. There's no companies, none of his relatives. Wouldn't know him if he was sitting in the audience. Then I thought, maybe they're thinking your political opponents, you're all running for election except the mayor. Maybe they're out to get you. Send me up like a stooge. I don't know any of them. None of them are clients. So then I thought, maybe somebody in the city government is setting me up to do this. No. The reason I was here was because of the ridiculous article I saw in the paper that made the decision. I was so outraged. I was at Judy's Castle, and I almost had to call CPR because I was going to choke on a hamburger. Then I thought, well, maybe they're worried about my qualifications, or I don't have the time. Well, I said, you're more welcome to a resume. I've done over $300 million for this type of transaction. Can't be that. Then I thought, personal gain. Yeah, that's what they think. I'm going to get personal gain. Well, I can assure you, giving work away for free, you don't have a lot of personal gain. Then the last one I thought was, am I embarrassing them? Am I embarrassing the people that did this? Well, you know what? Not knowing something and learning from an experience is not an embarrassment. You know what the embarrassment is? Letting this kind of work go forward. You all sitting there not even voting on it. That's the embarrassment. We all, every day is a learning experience. If we were to be embarrassed by learning stuff, then I'd be embarrassed all the time. Okay, I do have a hidden agenda. You know what that hidden agenda is? It's the woman that goes to third shift at Waffle House. It's the guy that the last 20 years has worked on the factory floor that bones ache. Yeah, he's called the taxpayer. That's my hidden agenda, and that's the only agenda I have. I want you to think. I will, once again, make the offer. I will lead, I will consult, or I will anyway help this process. You should have the intellectual curiosity of why an expert, and it's not only me that have said this is a poor analysis. Why? Why wouldn't you want to do better? Why wouldn't you want to help the taxpayer? It's free. What part of free don't you understand? Okay, and I did a little analysis. You know, this golf division is going to lose $1.6 million this year. $1.6 million is going to be subsidized by the taxpayers. Well, I got two little information that may help you along the analysis of closing that gap. One I've already told you about, the half price that the city employees and the retirees get. Think about it. You're making that woman goes to Waffle House pay for your golf. If you don't feel something about that, I really am sorry for you. And the second one, and I hope this isn't true, but I got it from a very reliable source. The golf manager, who I don't know, the golf division manager, makes about $114,000 with compensation all in. That's compensation and benefits. Apparently, he also gets a cut on the golf cart fees. Now, I hope that's at least in the $114,000. I don't know. But when do we get to use a city asset to make money off of? Those golf carts, what I was led to believe, and maybe I'm wrong, those golf carts belong to the city. He's making money off of it? Using our asset? That analogy is the next time a cop comes out and takes care of something in my thing, I need to give the patrolman $20 because he's used the company car, the city car. So in conclusion, let me rest, put it to rest. I have no hidden agenda. I just want the taxpayer to be listened to. I want the taxpayer to be cared for. I want you all to do your job. This is your job. And it's nothing else but a learning experience. Shouldn't that be done? I promise you, I will be respectful to those if you go forward. I will treat them like they're my clients. I'm not here to ridicule. I'm not here to make fun of. I'm here to educate. And that's what I'm here for. So the deal's on the table. I'd like you to take a vote, at least so we can see where you stand. Do you vote just forget about it? Or do you vote to go forward with this? And I'd like to know the reason. I don't think that's too much to ask for a taxpayer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for Mr. comments, Mr. Montgomery. Is there anyone else? Okay, let's begin with the regular agenda. We have second reading of ordinance BG 2012, number 3.
Ordinance relating to classification pay schedule. Ordinance amending the classification pay schedule G for general classified employees for fiscal year 2012 to add the classification of executive assistant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Waltrip. Mr. Febo?
As we talked about last meeting, this is an effort by Doug and the police department to achieve some savings of about $48,000 a year by combining two positions. This is a two-part move. The first part is the actual classification and establishment of the pay schedule. The second one is appointing Ms. Nash to the combined position. This is something we've done throughout the past 6 years, and we recommend that you do it again.
Any discussion?
Only you generally point out for me. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong item. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay.
Next.
I apologize.
I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah, I want to make sure
I've
the
already
record's
thought
clear
about
on
what
that.
you want brought up, and
Yeah.
I'm just see if I surprise you on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone else? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Next is second reading of ordinance 2012, number 4.
Ordinance relating to budget amendment. Ordinance approving amendment number 2 to the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky annual operating budget for fiscal year 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Denning, second by Nash. Mr. Febo?
As we talked the last meeting on the first reading, the City Commission has the fiduciary responsibility to manage the budget through an amendment process. We bring these amendments to you generally when we have new income coming in or changes in the budget. This is fairly boilerplate this early, this late in the budget process. Jeff, do you want to add anything to it? There's no surprises here. We're not running out of money. We're just moving money to the proper accounts.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Next is the second reading of ordinance 2012, number 5.
Ordinance providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds. An ordinance of the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky authorizing the issuance of 1 City of Bowling Green, Kentucky general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012A, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,665,000 for the purpose of refunding a portion of the outstanding City of Bowling Green, Kentucky general obligation bonds, Series 2004A, and 2 City of Bowling Green, Kentucky taxable general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012B, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,525,000 for the purpose of refunding all or a portion of the outstanding City of Bowling Green, Kentucky general obligation bonds, Series 2004B, the proceeds of which in turn finance the costs of the acquisition, construction, and installation of various public projects in the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky, approving the forms of bonds, authorizing designated officers to execute and deliver the bonds, authorizing and directing the filing of notice with the state local debt officer, providing for the payment and security of the bonds, creating bond payment funds, authorizing acceptance of the bids of the bond purchasers for the purchase of the bonds following the advertised sale of the bonds, and repealing inconsistent ordinances.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Waltrip, second by Nash. Mr. Febo?
Mayor, just a couple comments, and I'll let Jeff speak to the particulars, how much we are going to save. As we all know, the cost of money has a value, and it's our goal always to borrow money at the least cost that we can. It's important to note that these 204A and 204B bonds were the last general obligation bonds that we issued by the city, other than the TIF bonds and the ITA bonds. This is the last general obligation bonds that we issued, and we're here tonight to refinance those. And Jeff, you want to tell them how much we're saving by doing this and why?
We did have a 2007 GO issue that included the skate park and some other things. But
never mind.
Sorry, Craig, but
Okay.
We are watching the markets daily. We've had a little bit of movement due to the stock market movement last week, but we're watching. We were looking at an April 2nd public sale, but now we might be looking at an April 9th, mostly due to Moody. We're going to wait for a Moody's rating. They're running behind for some reason with a lot of activity apparently. So we're going to do a call within this week, but we're looking at an April 9th public sale of those bonds, but everything else is on track. Still going to be significant savings.
Do you have a number on the savings?
It's roughly around $700,000 still, or better, so we're still in good shape.
Good news. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012-36.
Municipal order approving the reappointment of Chip Hightower to the Urban Growth Design Review Board.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Denning, second by Nash. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, number 37.
Municipal order approving the reappointment of Wendy Marie Kublin to the Bowling Green Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Waltrip. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, number 38.
Municipal order approving the promotion of Jennifer R. Nash to the position of Executive Assistant in the Police Department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hill and second by Denning. Mr. Febo.
Jennifer joins a growing list of city employees who have taken on the responsibility of performing what was formerly two different positions. Doug came up with the idea that we could save some money by combining these and still provide the needed services. Jennifer was picked because of her skill set and the fact that she's an incumbent and has skill in both positions. I believe we're honored tonight to have her here as well as her folks to support her in her promotion.
This is the part where we ask you to stand up and embarrass you in front of everybody here. Congratulations.
You've cut the speech part out, Mayor?
I didn't offer that to her tonight.
Well, okay. Normally, we have the person
I'd be afraid
give a
Doug
little
would-
speech, about 5-10 minutes.
I'd be afraid Doug went to the microphone. We'd be here till 10. So. Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, number 39.
Municipal order authorizing and accepting bid number 2012-26 for chemicals and fertilizers for the Parks and Recreation Department Golf Division from various vendors in the total amount not to exceed $126,804.27.
So moved.
Moved.
Motion by Denning, second by Nash. Mr. Febo.
As the Commission is aware, we use a number and type of fertilizers and chemicals at our golf division. We went out to public bid. We had 10 people respond, in which we're breaking the bid down to the lowest bidder, frankly, among all 10 of the bidders. The cost this year will be about 3% less, and this is hold the cost for a year. I defer to Mr. Nash to make the obvious comment.
The obvious comment.
This is the first time that the preferred purchasing policy that you sponsored
Yes.
came into effect.
I got a little confused earlier, but this is an opportunity where the commission had voted in the past to do a local vendor preference. It comes into play here, and it's, at least in this particular case, working as designed, in that we want to not exclude anybody from the pool of people who might bid on a particular item that the city has available, but at the same time we want to reward those people who have made the decision to not only bid on city products, but also locate their businesses inside the city limits of Bowling Green, stay current on their taxes, meet all the other requirements, and employ local people. And so there's a lot of different ways to think about bids, and there's a lot of different ways to think about local vendors. But in this case, that preference is working just as it was designed.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I add another comment? This is from Jennifer Portman, direct quote. It costs the taxpayers $95.14 more to buy local, a reasonable amount to support a local business.
And presumably they're going to return that to us in employment,
Yeah.
their occupational license
Yes.
fee, and net
Yes.
profit license fee. And
So I
forth.
think that's an apt comment. So.
Plus, in this bid, we don't necessarily spend all the money
Yes.
unless we acquire the product. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, number 40.
Municipal order authorizing and accepting bid number 2012-29 for Petticoat Park Little League field lighting from Knight Electric Incorporated of Bowling Green, Kentucky in the amount of $92,500.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Hill and second by Nash. Mr. DeFebo.
I know this is a project close to everyone's heart. We've been, for many years, wanting to make a contribution to the Petticoat Park, particularly lighting there, but because of our finances, weren't able to do that. We come up with a creative way to use what was known as old CDBG funds to make this happen. We're here tonight to award the bid, hopefully to Knight Electric. We had 8 bidders. They were the lowest. Most of the funding, except I think for $1,500, will come from the Community Development Block Grant and make good on a commitment that we've had for many years.
Any comments? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. First reading of ordinance 2012, number 6.
Ordinance rezoning real estate. Ordinance rezoning 0.91 acre from a tract of land containing 1.779 acres from OPC Office and Professional Commercial to LI Light Industrial located at 944 Searcy Way, presently owned by CLP Properties LLC and PBW Development LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Waltrip and second by Nash.
I think Jonathan Brett is here if you have any questions, Commission.
Any comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, 41.
Municipal order authorizing the execution of a guaranteed rate agreement with the Kentucky League of Cities Insurance Services for insurance coverages of general liability, public officials liability, law enforcement liability, automobile liability, and physical damage, property, and workers' compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Denning and second by Hill. Mr. DeFebo.
Our Human Resources and Risk Management Department is constantly monitoring the state of the insurance market. We perceive that the market is undergoing a change and have approached KLC, our insurer, to lock us in to a 2-year agreement that allows us to keep our cost at par. The rates are guaranteed for 2 years, and after that, we're hoping to renew or lock in again. But the market is constantly changing. I want to thank David Weisbrot for his ability to negotiate with our provider. I think David's here if you want to add any questions or comments.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, 42.
Municipal order approving the advertisement for bids and distribution of a preliminary official statement for the purchase of the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky General Obligation Refunding Bonds Series 2012A in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $6,665,000 and City of Bowling Green, Kentucky Taxable General Obligation Refunding Bonds Series 2012B in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1,525,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Nash and second by Hill.
This is a procedural move required for the issuance of general obligation bonds. I defer to Gene Harmon, our city attorney, for an explanation.
I mean, I'm answering questions you've got. It's just the second step in what we just did a few minutes ago.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. I think, I'll tell you in a minute. Municipal Order 2012-43.
Municipal order authorizing the continuation of contract with U.S. Bank to provide banking services for an additional year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Waltrip, second by Nash.
This is the fifth and final year of our contractual relationship with U.S. Bank under our current contract. It's our intent to go out to bid for banking services during the upcoming fiscal year. So we ask you to approve the fifth and final year, and we intend to go out to bid and see who else or possibly U.S. Bank can provide this service.
Can they rebid?
Sure. But we made a commitment, I think, to you all last year that this would be the last year, so we're not changing our mind. We're going to honor our commitment to you and go out to bid.
Any discussion?
I should have asked this question before. My daughter-in-law works for U.S. Bank. Do I need to abstain or?
I don't think so, unless somehow she makes money and gives it to you as a part of this contract.
That does not happen. She will shoot me now. There'll be domestic violence in my house. Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Ordinance 2012, number 7.
Ordinance amending Code of Ordinances. Ordinance amending Chapter 8, Cemeteries of the City of Bowling Green Code of Ordinances to make various administrative amendments.
So moved.
Motion by Waltrip, second by Hill.
One of our goals is to continually housekeep our various ordinances. We did Chapter 2 last year. It came to our attention that some of the elements of Chapter 8 dealing with cemeteries were out of date. So we are here tonight to ask to make a number of changes, and I'll defer to Gene as our city attorney on those changes.
Two major changes, and I guess this is maybe one of the classic examples. We do listen to citizens. This change was instigated by a citizen who happened to be looking at our webpage and looking through our ordinances and noted, like a lot of cities, had old language. In fact, I was on the webpage on some city a couple of days ago and noticed they also had a language that said no weapons in other city parks. But we had language in our ordinance that said you could not have weapons in the cemetery. We had a gentleman in town that pointed out that that was a violation of state law, and he's right. There are pretty liberal rules in Kentucky. You know, in fact, there's a state statute that says that basically cities cannot regulate possession and sale and manufacture much of anything else of guns and weapons. So we went in, we made that change to eliminate that language. There was like 2 words in one section. But while we were there, the city clerk's office also pointed out that traditionally in the past, the city has actually given what they called a deed to a cemetery plot. But a few years ago, and Katie can tell me how long ago, they basically stopped calling it a deed and basically started calling it a certificate of burial. So everybody wouldn't get in their mind they actually owned lots in cemetery, because they really don't. They can't come in and do much with them. So we went through and made just administrative changes throughout this chapter to change deed language to certificates of burial instead. So that's just an administrative thing, but the first change was instigated by the citizen in town who pointed it out to us. Also, I'm not sure Ernie's here, but he's also gone through and we changed the website because he had language on the website about no weapons in parks too. If you want to, I'll give you a little bit to understand, make sure everybody understands. At least my understanding of the law in Kentucky is that people can pretty well carry open weapons pretty much anywhere they want to carry them. With some exceptions, they won't let you carry one into the Justice Center, into the jail, but pretty much any place else in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, with very few exceptions, you can carry open weapons. The only thing that the city has the ability to do We can control the regulation of weapons, at least concealed guns, inside city buildings, as long as we mark those buildings. If you see the signs downstairs, this is one of the buildings that we've identified that you cannot carry a concealed weapon in here, even if you have a concealed weapon permit, that we prohibit concealed weapons in here. But because of, I guess, again, old language, I mean, a lot of places have language that says don't carry guns in parks. And because of the current state of the law, we cannot prohibit that. If they want, they can carry them concealed, if they got a permit, they can carry them open in our parks if they choose to do that. So we're going through trying to figure out where we have any signage that had that language, where we had any code that had that language, and we're trying to clean up all that language every place we can find it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hill.
Yes.
Nash.
Yes.
Waltrip.
Yes.
Denning.
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. Municipal Order 2012, number 44.
Municipal Order of the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky, expressing its intent to lease the parking garage currently being completed in Block 6 of the WKU Gateway to Downtown Bowling Green Tax Increment Financing District.
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Nash and second by Hill. Mr. Febo.
I'll defer to Gene or to the sponsors to sunshine it if you like. But essentially, this is a lease agreement to help with the wrap around on the garage downtown. Gene, you want to add anything to
I
that?
was going to say, if you want to, we have representatives from the authority here. If you'd like to hear from Doug or Kevin, or if not, if you have a question, I mean, I think the municipal order is fairly self-explanatory with the language in it.
We're leasing it for how much per year?
There's going to be quite a few documents. If you notice, this is just basically at this point expressing the city's intent to follow through with this project. I think the actual numbers aren't, I mean, I don't know them right now. I think it's my understanding, again, Doug, and everybody can correct me if I'm wrong, that under this agreement, the city will be leasing, or subleasing, I think, probably, the entire garage and parks in Block 6. The lease payments will be the bond payment amount, the industrial revenue bond payment amount that the county is getting ready to issue. I think either have done or will soon do their second reading. I'm not sure I know exactly what the second reading is, but once those numbers come out, I think that will help determine what the annual payment amount is. Of course, there's funds being pledged to the city to help make those payments with some of the rental revenues from the wrap around Block 6, some of the TIF revenues from Block 4A, 5, 6, and 8. By that looking, I think those are the ones. Plus also some of the TIF revenue from at least one of the tenants who is proposed to move into the wrap as well. We've been given numbers that show the projected income. This includes city and state TIF revenues. So that's basically what it is, that the city will lease it. You know, the exact lease payments, we don't know yet until the bonds are issued. We figure out the interest rates. We'll figure out what the annual payments is. But with the hope and expectation that the revenues generated will make that payment.
Any discussion?
If no one else has, I do.
I'm sorry, Joe, were you finished?
One other.
Sure.
Is that half and half? I know the county is selling their bonds. Are they going to make half of the payment also?
Now, these are industrial development revenue bonds. Warren County will have no obligation to make any payments on these bonds at all. They'll be issuing them on behalf of a private developer that we've not yet quite determined who that private developer is going to be. But they'll be issuing them on behalf of the private developer. There'll be 2 or 3 agreements, again, yet to be drafted between us and either the authority or the county, because the county, I think, currently has the obligation, because of their bonds to build a garage, to operate it and maintain it. So we'll have to have some kind of agreement with them to make sure that stays in place, because you know we're really not going to be, the city's not going to be managing, operating this parking garage. So we'll make sure we don't, you know, we're not going to be responsible for utilities or liabilities or anything else. So that'll be an agreement. We'll also have a sub-agreement with that developer, because part of this, they will also have an agreement with the authority that they will actually lease the garage and they will turn around and sublease it to us. But under industrial revenue bonds that the county will be issuing, they will have no obligation to make the payments. The city itself, we've issued, Jeff can tell me how many, it's in my memory, at least 4 or 5 times that we've issued industrial development revenue bonds on behalf of private companies. where the city had no obligation to make the payments. If you remember years ago, of course, the language has changed, which has nothing to do with this one, but back in the 60s, the city issued industrial revenue bonds for Cutler Hammer. They conveyed that industrial project to us. We leased it back to them for bond payments. Different language back in those days, because back in those days with that language, once those bonds were paid off, the city kept that industrial building, and we sold it a few years after all that ran out. But the ones last few years, that doesn't happen. Once the industrial bonds are paid off for a buck, we convey it back to the private industry that put the money in. It's a financing mechanism for them to do that. So the city's issued industrial revenue bonds a few times in the past as well. But again, the county, under the current arrangement, has no obligation either to make the bond payments or to assist the city in making its payments.
I thought I read somewhere, and apparently I didn't based on what you just said, that we would be responsible for general maintenance of the facilities or something along that line.
No, I don't think there's any anticipation that the city will have any responsibility to operate, maintain, insure, or do anything with the garage.
Okay.
I think Kevin wants to speak, if that's okay.
Do you have a comment, or you're just making yourself available for questions?
Maybe I'll say just a couple of other things. Everything Gene has said is certainly correct. Point out just we've actually, as it happens, spent quite a bit of time today working on the financing of this project. And it's a little bit of a chicken or an egg situation. And really all the city is doing now is expressing its intent or willingness to do this. The municipal order that Gene has prepared lists a whole lot of preconditions that have got to happen before you will do this. But what this will do, because this private developer wants very much to know how much this debt is going to be, this will, I think, allow the bond folks to test the market a little bit now that they see that this could be a part of the financial structure, to see if it's going to work. And from the city's viewpoint, I think Gene said this, they're sort of ahead of you are the rental payments for all the units there and the TIF revenue. And so this is sort of the number 3 backstop. I would just say that the upside from the city's viewpoint is part of this arrangement will cause us to change the pecking order on who's got rights to TIF revenues, and we'll move the city up. So there's I think a very real potential, if things go well, for the TIF revenue to not only pay this debt, but there'll be some more money for the city to help you with your GO bonds or whatever. But there's not a cap on the TIF revenue flowing to this that's just enough for the debt service. If there's more, and heaven knows we all think eventually there'll be more, then the city gets that as well.
Mr. Walter?
Yes, I don't have any questions, Kevin. Thank you. I'll make this short, and I do respect what's trying to be done here. Obviously, is to move the downtown forward. And a tongue-in-cheek comment, maybe, but I am in support of the TIF district and all the things that are trying to do down there, and the infusion of jobs and different things like that. But I'm going to vote no on this issue. Again, Doug Gorman, Mike Buchanan, Rick Kelly, we sat down a couple weeks ago, talked about it, had a good conversation, but the bottom line is that the city still has risk involved in this, and I know, and Kevin said, and I've been told this before, this is just really an intent or willingness to do this, and my vote will be no again on this, because the city is still guaranteeing a bond payment, and I'm not willing to have that happen. But again, I respect the votes of the other members here. I think each of us are doing what we think is right for the city. And with that being said, I really do hope the project is successful. But I'll be voting no on this order, or municipal order, please.
Anyone else?
I will say something. Going along with what Commissioner Waltrip said, a key word he said was risk. And today I was teaching my students the difference between a small business owner and an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is willing to take the risk, and they look for the bigger picture and what's best, not just for them, but the entire world and their community. So with that, I will support this municipal order.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Mayor, as excuse me, as you well know, and Commissioner Nash, I have been one that has raised a whole lot of stink over the years about nothing taking place downtown in those blocks, and where the present garage is being built now. I must say that I am glad to see things take place in an area that was blighted at one time, and we, as a elected body, said that we were going to make changes for the good. So this is unusual in the years that we've had the TIF, that Joe Denning has voted yes on something taking place.
Just make sure when we look at all the different issues, and of course we can all come to different conclusions on the same set of facts. The risk involved, there is risk. We understand that, but what I saw in examining this risk through the pro forma is that if in all these, this is all contingent on things happening. If they don't happen, then we don't step forward. But when you weigh the risk against the opportunities that they have in place and close to signature on, which is one of those contingencies, then that risk is mitigated to the point that I think it's an acceptable risk in my judgment. But what makes it even more palatable is the city moves up from number 5th on the list of payments to number 1, so that we actually have an opportunity to recover funding that we're doing on the bonds for the baseball park, that $1.6 million a year. So moving this along, I think in my judgment, will be beneficial to the city. So is there any other comments?
I'm ready to vote.
Anybody else? Please call the roll.
Hill,
Yes.
Nash,
Yes.
Waltrip,
No.
Denning,
Yes.
Wilkerson.
Yes. That's the last item on the agenda. We'll be going into closed session. If you would give us a few minutes to excuse the crowd, and there'll be no vote taken at the end of the meeting, so we'll be concluded with the public portion.